This is the Infinite Podcast with me, Ulf Tønneflittig.
And me, Øystein Rabbe.
Together we go into the unknown to uncover dualisms and singularities.
Epic mindsets, and concepts and ideas and
mindsets.
Things.
Oh yeah, we're going all the way, baby.
Yes.
So this episode is from our live show, The Wake Up Show, and we're talking about the epic mindset.
Yes, duality and the good and the bad, the evil and the good, and the right and wrong, and how
black and the white.
Yeah, the black and the white, and everything you can do and cannot do, and what is the point of I don't know.
And at one point, at one point you have to do
push the button.
Push the button.
The surrender button.
Oh yes, the surrender button. Cannot push the button often enough. I think it's a button to be pushed when things get rough.
You make it sound like a magic bullet.
It is a magic bullet.
Is it?
Yes. It's unfuckable.
Unfuckable.
Enjoy.
Okay, welcome to the Wake Up Show. We are live, I just found out. That's a good thing. I like to be live. As you know, if you have watched this show before, it's not really a morning show about coffee in the morning. It's something completely different. We're talking about a different kind of waking up here. And today's topic is the epic mindset. That means that's actually what we're going to find out. The dualistic idea of the good and the bad, and how can you overwin the evil or whatever. When do you have the right to kill in the name of good, for instance, or what is the difference in the end after all? Don't look for facts, look for insights. And this conversation can completely change your life. It's actually true because it changed mine completely a few years back. So without further ado, here is the clip.
Oh shit! I'm awake! By golly, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good everything and everywhere. This is the Wake Up Show, and by the looks of it, it looks like you are at least semi-awake. First off, we got a Patreon. Now, Patreon is a support system where you can help make this show even greater by supporting us with cash, moolah, money. Obviously, the greatest thing is watching the show and getting on the fun train. But also, check out Patreon. Patreon.com/TheWakeUpShow. Your support really makes a difference. Thank you. And thank you to all you wonderful patrons out there who's already supporting the show. The epic
mindset.
The epic mindset. Mm-hmm. Now, Rabbe, I have a confession to make, because when we were talking about the theme of this this episode, and you said the epic mindset, that sounds great, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's why we're making this episode, right? So that's fine.
Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It was like, finally, I'm omnipotent and all-knowing, so it's sort of okay to every once in a while sort of not knowing.
But it sounds kind of cool, right? The epic mindset.
Epic mindset.
Yeah. We should have like a movie trailer voiceover. The epic mindset.
I see a motivational video, the epic mindset, and clips Jim Carrey, Alan Watts,
possible.
The dudes. Yep.
We
So
can do that.
we're not alone today.
Yes.
We're not having guests. This is better than a guest.
Yeah, it's much better than a guest.
This is Christian.
Hello, Christian.
Is our
Hello.
technical wizard guy, and because we love him so much, we invited him to sit with us in the studio today because it's so cozy. Look at us. Yeah. Look at this place. It's beautiful. Thank you for being here with us, Christian.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And the person not being... And how does it feel to be sitting in the room? The last time you were here, we were sitting in like a back room somewhere. Now you're here.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing that my life just keep going in a better direction.
There you go.
Inside the room instead of outside.
Finally inside.
Yes, finally.
Did you break the thing? Oh, the button keeps falling off. Happened last time as well. No worries.
Okay.
Yes. So the epic
mindset. When we are talking about the epic mindset, let's first talk about duality. As we have been talking about before, Ulf. But this is kind of we're coming a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about the epic stuff. But now let's just start with the dualistic stuff.
Oh, I like how you're playing this out. Starting down low on the duality level and then bringing it up to epic.
So first of all, I would say that realizing this whole understanding of what duality is it the camera is not in focus, so Ulf has to make me sharper.
See more focus now?
Yeah. Is it better? Yes.
You're focused.
Thank you. It feels great to be focused.
Okay.
Where was I? Duality, yes.
Yes.
It's like when I realized this understanding, it's like every situation has a new meaning. In the spiritual awakening, I would say understanding duality has been one of the most impactful realizations to kind of propel the journey. Because it had helped me to don't get stuck as much in the battle between me and someone else, or between my understanding and someone else's understanding of things. The confusing part of it is that the kind of black and white picture of right and wrong kind of dissolves, which can be really frustrating for the mind because, we like to have firm things we can grip and hold on to. But if life is more balanced, I would say, than black and white, right and wrong, good or bad, then it can start getting kind of tricky to have a reference point where you can feel, okay, I'm good here. I have control over the situation. So it is a shift in the mind and how you look at things. But it's kind of the next level of yourself, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should I also explain what it is, or do you want to say what the secret ingredient is?
The secret ingredient to duality?
Yes.
Well, it seems to me like if you add a bit of oneness to the mix, that's going to make all the difference because...
oneness stuff.
The oneness stuff.
Yeah.
And it's sort of interesting, right? Because you come into this world, so you come sort of well, technically you come out of your mother, and you're a thing, and you're separate from everything else. So it's you and it's the world, and you name all these different items that you see on your path, and also they will have different well, skills and abilities. They will be good or bad or black or white or adjectives, I guess. And then at some point you sort of have to check in, like where do I actually fit into this puzzle? And typically, speaking for myself, I wanted to be on the good side of things, right? You don't want to be the bad one. You want to be the good one.
Yes.
You want to be right. You don't want to be wrong. You want to be perfect. You don't want to be a failure. So you're sort of pushing yourself towards one end, not being a lot of other things. But at one point, very specifically actually at my psychiatrist's office, where my shrink said more or less, this is a couple of years ago, don't have the script, didn't get it transcribed, big mistake.
Oh, no.
It's a major breakthrough moment for Ulf. But it was like, Ulf, you're a good person. But you need to have space for the bad stuff as well, because if you only try to push that away, it's just going to make your life miserable. And I was like, but I don't want to be a bad person. I want to be a good person. I don't want to be envious or jealous or cruel, or I don't want to have these feelings. But the moment it didn't happen that day. It took a couple of years for that thought to sort of
sink in.
Yeah. But then when it's sort of dawned on me that you have to actually embrace both sides of the puzzle to solve the thing, and you can't just insist on being either or.
Yeah,
you have to be both. And I know this is tough because typically, especially when it comes to like taking a stand on something, you want to like make the right one. You either have to be with Trump or you have to be with Greta. Can't go with both. That's crazy, right?
That's interesting because you started the conversation with oneness, and then just like the first thing that comes to my mind when you say that is like that's also like that can also be a dualistic claim, you know, like okay, I'm on this spiritual path, so I've learned the great mental concept of oneness because it's a great idea. It makes sense to me, so I'll rather be in oneness. I'll rather be an enlightened guru or master or something than being where I am right now. So I start idealizing that kind of direction of my life. So everything in between is wrong. And then it is kind of to break it down to two components. It's kind of the idea that something is better than something else, and you should choose the right sides. And in that thing, it's like you start fighting against something in yourself or someone else out there, like the outer path of you can fight against Trump, or you can fight against your neighbor having his what do you call it,
hedge it's too high
or something, you know,
that's
or
horrible.
That the leaves are going into a garden, and that's the problem because your grass is not going to get as green. So it must be something wrong with the neighbor. If you just could remove that neighbor completely from your life, maybe build a wall or something, I don't know.
Oh, that sounds like a good plan.
Then you can kind of repress everything and get it away from you, and you can win, and you can come back to peace. The only problem is that you are not just this component. You are also everything else. So the more you try to fight what you claim not to be, the more it kind of builds up that pressure. Like your psychiatrist said about the darkness or the bad stuff or
the dark side.
The dark side.
Dark side.
Yes. So that goes into every situation in life, you know. We think we should not be this bad feelings. We shouldn't feel bad, you know. Christian, you should never feel bad. If you feel bad, you're not a good human being.
But what if I want to?
No, you can't. Because I've chosen side for you. And you should be like me. Otherwise, I don't know how to
I think
relate
you
to
would be wrong. You
Yes.
don't want to be wrong, Christian. Do
No.
you want to be wrong?
Do you want me wrong?
You prefer to be right.
But people always say I'm wrong, so I'm just used to it.
But it's tricky, right? Because even oneness is a dualistic. Because
Yeah.
not being oneness is also a side of the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Which brings me to the word balance.
The balance.
And I have to push some Star Wars references in here
Yes.
because you know I love to do that. In the movie, in the original trilogy of the Star Wars universe, episode 4, I guess, A New Hope, there is talk of this dude who was going to bring balance to the galaxy. Now, this, as major spoiler alert, this chosen one was Anakin Skywalker. He was going to bring balance to the Force, which is then shown in the prequel movies how that goes horribly wrong because he chooses the dark side, and it forever rules his destiny. And by the end of the 6th film, so the original trilogy, Luke Skywalker, the son of this holy chosen being, defeats his father and the emperor even with the help of his dad, who has turned around, which is, I think, is a good lesson in life. But he defeats the darkness, and at the end of the film, there's fireworks and there's a party, and everything is awesome.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it always felt like that was a galaxy in balance. But that's not really the case, is it? Because can you really defeat the darkness? Is that the way forward? And to sort of pull a longer line on it, like push it forward, is they've now started making new Star Wars movies where they're sort of pointing to that perspective where it turns out when Luke killed the Emperor together with his dad, and they were all reunited before the dad died, and he could take over the kingdom. It's just chaos and mess, and a new empire has come into power, and Luke Skywalker refuses to take any part of that.
Yeah.
So he was the heir to the kingdom, right? But it just seemed too how you say it was too much. And when he was confronted with the dark side of things, he just was no, I don't want to be a part of this. And what I'm sort of getting at, what I really like about these new Star Wars movies is that they're actually pointing to the fact where earlier we were so caught up in the idea, I was so caught up in the idea that balance is good. It's just good.
Yeah.
You've annihilated bad.
Yeah.
You've killed bad. You've murdered everyone who can define as bad. You've blown them up in a huge explosion on the Death Star, and you can just party on.
Back in control.
Back in control.
So what you're saying is control is balance in that old mindset.
Yes.
Yes.
But then again, that's just the beginning of the story. It's realizing that you're both sides of the coin, and actually making space for that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you look at, okay, this hand is the bad hand, this is the good hand. This is the good. And Ulf says I need to get closer to this one. So this is the bad hand, and this is the good hand. And they're not friends. They are always fighting each other. And at least if they do, they have something to spend their time doing. And as long as they're engaged in this battle, they don't need to realize themselves, because they can just point to the other, like, you're the problem, and you're the problem. But the thing is that as long as you're doing that, you can claim to be on the good side, and you claim that the other party is the bad side. And what do you think if you're the good side and you label the other one as the bad side, what if the bad side has to label the good side and has labeled you as the bad side? Do you realize how much you're just playing a game that is not really ever leading anywhere? And it is by realizing that truth that you can kind of get out of the good and the bad. And the balance is not by choosing that side, it's by transcending that mindset so you don't create that situation again. And now we're gonna
Wait, I have to say one thing because it was so beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Check this out. So you have the right hand and the wrong hand. Sorry, left hand, and they're fighting. But there's something connecting these two hands. What's this? Oh, it's me. And what's at the core of? Oh, it's my heart. So maybe if I just get out of my hands and into my heart. Get out of your hands.
That's really a beautiful metaphor as well. If you look, if two hands just exist in space. I just
imagine two hands in
space.
I'm imagining.
And there's just black around and stars and everything. And they're like dancing together, and they look at themselves as two different components that are separate from each other. And they can connect and have beautiful conversations and everything. Until at some point, to make the story short, because we need to rush to the next segment. But it's like at some point, someone just take off the clothes of that person. So suddenly, both the hands realize, oh, I'm actually part of a bigger picture. I'm not alone. I'm actually dancing with myself. And then maybe it's even more fun, Who knows?
I like it.
Yes.
I like it. No, we need to push forward.
Okay, so a short introduction for the video clip we're going to see now. We're going to see a video clip of a spiritual author. His name is Kim Michaels. And when I found...
Kim Michaels?
Yes.
Kim Michaels?
He's a Danish guy. And when I think this was in 2014... for every big step I've taken in my life that had really transformed my life, it has mostly been through downloading pirate software or pirate products from the internet. Back in the torrent days and where you can steal things.
Oh, the pirate days.
Yes. So, I'm working with television and video. The way it started was that I found on a pirate site you could download some software that probably costs around $1,000 or something. I found it as a teenager and I started editing video on it. And it became my career. And later in life, I was frustrated and lost. And I found this self-help guru, Anthony Robbins, online. Also on the pirate site. Downloaded some of his products and listened to it on my ear when I was walking back and forth to the job that I overworked every day. And a few months later, I was in the US on a huge event, changing my life and starting a business. And then the next phase that had changed my life was that I, probably on the same pirate site, I found this book by Kim Michaels. And I'm not sure if I've told him that I actually found him on a pirate site, but anyway, he was the first to introduce to me this concept of the epic mindset. And it really shifted...
The
epic mindset. And it really shifted the way I looked at things. It helped me not get lost in my own battle all the time. And after listening to some of his books, I realized he lived in Denmark. So I asked, can I come meet you and make an interview? And he said yes. And I was there for a day and we filmed probably 4 or 5 hours of interview. I never used it for anything because it never happened. But now I want to show a clip from him talking about the epic mindset. So here it is.
Responsibility is a concept that really goes together with free will. You can't separate responsibility and free will. And you do have, in the duality consciousness, and I have quite a lot of books and teachings that talk about this, that the extreme outcome of the duality consciousness is what I call the epic mindset. And the idea is, you can see it, for example, in religion. You can also see in politics, that there is an ideal state of the planet. For example, there's only one true religion. And all people should be converted to this religion, because if they don't, they'll end up burning forever in hell. And suddenly it becomes of epic importance to convert everybody to your religion, whether they want to or not. And then comes the whole idea that if they don't become converted, they'll burn in hell for all eternity, which is terrible for them. Therefore, it's actually better that they are killed physically if they won't be converted to your religion, because that will prevent the destruction of the world, and all this kind of stuff. So this is what I call the epic mindset. And the extreme outcome is that you feel responsible for everybody. You feel responsible for saving the world. You personally feel responsible for saving the world. And as you walk the path towards the ascension, you completely let go of that, because the ascension is actually a completely individual process. You do not ascend in a group. You ascend as one individual. You make a choice. There can be other people that are ascending at around the same time, but you must make an individual choice to ascend, that final choice of letting go. And so what I'm saying is that when it comes down to it, you're responsible only for yourself and your own growth. You have absolutely no responsibility for other people, because they have their individual free will, and you have no right to override it. Now, of course, why did we come to embody here? Why did we choose to embody here to help raise the planet? Because we wanted to do something for others. The trouble is, we have to find that very delicate balance where, yes, we are working to help other people or help raise the planet, but we are not doing it in a way that violates the free will of other people. We realize that we're not helping them by forcing them. We are only helping them by demonstrating that you can make a better choice, and thereby inspiring them to make their own choices, but not forcing them to make choices.
What I'm thinking when I'm looking at it now is this whole thing, and this is why I chose this clip, that this whole thing about responsibility, in the sense that when we live in the mindset of something, we claim to have the right of the truth or the perfect answer. And when you look at religion over time, you have this almighty God that you can claim is good. And you can take responsibility for the purpose, and then you have the right to kill in the name of God, this loving God. And I think when we take that into society today, it's also interesting how we still believe all those things when we go to the extreme, even though we maybe not use God as the cause anymore in a collective consciousness. When do we have the right to kill for a cause, for instance? Or when do we have the right to convert other people to believe the same thing? Like, okay, we need to save the planet. Everyone has to agree with my view on climate, or everyone has to agree on my view of cancer and working against cancer, and all these things that we have so many collective ideas about that we claim is just as much as we 100 years ago could claim that it was okay to kill in the name of God.
Well, two things. It seems to me now, especially in the Western Hemisphere, that we've exchanged religion with the thing we call democracy. And democracy is, we've solved life. And in a sense, democracy is a very good idea, right? Because everyone gets to decide.
Yes.
It's not a dictatorship. It's not some king or a dictator ruling. People get to decide, and we need to convince everyone else on planet Earth that democracy is the best way. It's the right way. Everything else is wrong. Communism, for instance, has been proven irrefutably many times is a horrible idea. Dictatorship seems also not to work very well, except for obviously the dictator. So democracy, and especially Western democracy, is the way forward. So let's just push that agenda on everyone. And it's actually okay killing them in order to introduce democracy into their lives, making their lives better.
Democracy is the best thing that exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also what it comes to when also with, I think this goes to every kind of concept, that as long as this is the most known concept and the kind of the best one we have yet, it is easy to claim that it is the right one, and that we shouldn't evolve beyond this because we have found the perfect answer, and everyone has to agree with us now.
Yeah.
I think we need to make this conversation a bit more interesting. Let's roll the next clip.
Oh, ante up. Next clip.
When one man is living out the vision that we are all denying, yet striving for, is blaming this man really the answer? Or is the blame really pointing to something deeper within ourselves?
Hold on for a second. Before you continue watching this movie, I want you to just take off your glasses. Your glasses judging what is right and what is wrong, what is good or what is evil. Sometimes we get so stuck in that reality that we're not able to see it clear. If not in anything else, just for the 2 next minutes of your life, I want you not to put what you're about to see in those boxes before you have reflected on what you're about to see. So, okay, enjoy the movie now. Bye-bye.
Everything that irritates us can lead us to an understanding of who we are. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
In order to avoid facing their own soul.
You know, I get greedy. I want money. Now I'll tell you what we're going to do, right? We get greedy, right? Now we're going to get greedy for the United States. We're going to grab and grab and grab. We're going to bring in so much money and so much everything. We're going to make America great again, folks. I'm telling you, we're going to make America great again.
Everyone carries a shadow. And the less we are conscious of our own darkness, the blacker and denser it is.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built. It's not even, believe it or not, it's not even a difficult thing to do.
When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate.
I understand that, but part of it is I read a lot and I watch a lot, and many people discussed this. Many people, they said it. So when I said it, it became like a big deal, and that's, the way it is.
What if life happens for you only to show you what is hiding within yourself?
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy.
That's preposterous, dude, saying I'm Trump, you crazy son of a bastard. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like the
It's still-
shattering light bulb.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, actually, I realized in the official version on YouTube, I'm cutting out. What are you saying? Again? He says you can do anything. Grab them by the, and then I cut to the text.
Oh, you're not gonna say pussy?
Yeah, but I was kind of surprised there myself.
So this
But
was
yeah,
a director's cut. This was
a director's cut. Yes, but it's like I felt that when I made that video. It was kind of weird afterwards because I understand that it's kind of it's tricky to understand the video if you're not already in the conversation. And then I realized we are in the conversation now, so maybe it was a good fit here.
It was perfect.
Yeah. But it points to a lot of things, I would say, and I, especially when it comes to Trump, and I still feel myself even that I get triggered by the text "We are Trump." I'm getting triggered by it when I see it because I don't want to be associated with that. But it's pointing to the fact that we are in this together. We cannot escape by making Trump a scapegoat of our consciousness. We are living this consciousness, everyone, and the only way to make that change is to make a change is to start by working on yourself and influence the collective consciousness in a better way.
Imagine a person with 7.5 billion hands.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
and then hiding inside of Earth like puppets. And it's like, oh, look over here, I'm me, and look over here, I'm this person over here. And what I think in that parable, what's really cool about it is that Earth is actually a circle, and there's no end to this.
I want to give
thing.
Kim Michaels the credit for that metaphor, though, because I took it from him.
That's. I think he'll acknowledge that he's also you're his hands, and
we are part of it. Yes.
So hopefully he'll not be too upset.
I think he's gonna be okay.
But it's so funny how we're always thinking we're separate, our separateness. Because look at me, I have shoes on, so I'm not connected to the ground like a tree. I'm not a tree. Relax. What do I look like to you?
Yeah.
A tree? A treehouse?
Treehouse.
But at the same time, the moment you sort of let these polar opposites collapse, you land safe and sound at this place called the here and now, where everything's connected in a way. Strange, even though you got no strings to hold you down.
Yeah, it's true. It's like.
That's a Pinocchio reference, by the way. If,
I didn't catch that.
Did you catch it?
No.
With the strings?
Now I catch it. Yeah. But it's like, okay, I want to the two things I want to mention. One is this, like, when the way to realize when you're catched up in this dualistic idea, the way to recognize it is that you believe something to be true, and that in that truth there will always be an opposite. Like when something is really important to you, that okay, this needs to happen. This needs to happen, and this is the right way, and there is no other ways. That's the clue. You're stuck. But there is a way out of it, and that's kind of to lean back a bit.
Surrender.
But it's like, yeah. But it's like to
I just love
that's
that word.
that's the kind of the creating that gap in your mind to realize, okay, now I'm invested in a truth. I'm invested in an idea, because these things we're talking about here, the duality, can only exist in the mind in the sense of ideas. That the way the world works is that when you create an idea of something, a concept of something, it will always be something inside of the concept and something outside of the concept. There will always be like the right way and the other way that is not part of this way. And the confusing part of that is that that's how we reference the world. So we always will have to use those concepts. There is no other way. The trick is to realize that those concepts are only concepts. They're only ideas. The real world exists outside of that, or beyond that, or within that, or whatever you want to call it. But the mind creates frames and frameworks and structures around things, but all that are mental pictures. The mind is only an instrument. It's not the complete life. So my question was, when we watched the video with Trump, that we have chosen that person for some reason.
He was elected.
And we are Norwegian, so we can say, no, we didn't do that because the Americans did that. We're not part of that.
We can blame the Americans.
Yes. We're much better than the Americans because we are like the Nordic country, and we have so much better consciousness, and everything is so cool over here.
Yeah,
when we compare
free
to something we don't like.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're better.
Yes.
The best country in the world. That's us. The bestest countryest in the worldest. Should build a wall around this place.
Make Norway greater. But so my question is, in the name of leadership, in the name of, like, we've chosen someone to lead, and like we do this in all collective groups. We have a leader with some kind of structure, what do you call that? Hierarchy that we have. For some, we have agreed to it. We can be victims of hierarchies, but still we have chosen to submit to the hierarchy and on a collective level. And so what is okay and what is not okay, in the sense like that someone can do when we have chosen that person or that group of people to lead us?
Well, so one thing I find really interesting is because it's so easy, right? And typically in this democratic process, as we do in Norway as well, is when someone's elected, the people who didn't vote for this person are appalled and angry that they didn't get their way. So if the right wing pushes forward, the left side will be like, well, this is so unfair, and the other way around. But at the core of it all, I do find it very interesting how we're sort of taking the power over our own lives and putting it on someone else. So like global warming or climate change, which is a better term because global warming sounds really cool and climate change sounds very unpredictable. It's so easy to say, well, this problem is so huge and massive that I cannot make a difference whatsoever, so I can just go about my business and someone else will fix this problem.
I can pay some money and hope that
obviously when you buy an airline ticket, you can pay that extra fee and then you're sort of in the clear. But the moment you actually acknowledge that you're a part of this, like you're one of the players. You're not sitting ringside watching a football game. You're one of the players playing the game, and I think, well, the challenge with the system as is today is that we're electing players to play the game, and then we're really upset when we're sitting on the sidelines, like yelling at the players, like, you got to kick the ball more to the right. You're doing this all wrong. And we just gotta let that stuff go, because in order for our democracy to work, we actually have to acknowledge that we're a part of the democracy, that we're a part of the game, and if something speaks to us and we want to share something, we can actually share it, and together we will actually find the greater truths, not by just pushing our agenda, but through listening, which is hard.
Yeah, and I think
Because-
it's the usual way we look to influence is with the idea of speaking louder and convincing people to agree with us.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily how we raise the consciousness of the whole. Like if we are a part of everything, the kind of more mystical aspect or not so much spoken aspect of it is that there is like a collective consciousness at play here. And like Trump is the common denominator in a way of one particular consciousness. So the way we influence can be through like protest and scream out louder and make like an outer journey of pushing an agenda. It helps. I'm not saying it's wrong. But the other part of it is that it's not that it's much spoken about is this: if you work on yourself, raising your consciousness, what is really happening is that, like we have talked about before, like if you look at the world as a what do you call that? In Norwegian, it's klut or teppe.
Like a
Blanket.
Blanket. Yeah, you can say blankets. Thank you, Christian.
the blanket of life.
So if you are one kind of point on that blanket, and you start raising yourself, everyone around you will follow. It's inventable. Inevitable. Yes. Okay. So yeah, that's what's happening. If you look at like this, like if you start raising one corner, everyone around you will be affected. It is impossible not to, and when enough people are affected, something really interesting start happening, because the consciousness level, which is not spoken about in society, because then you would judge people as being different or not as good or whatever. That affects the capacity you have to actually see the world for what it is. And now I just realized we're running out of time.
We're running out of time.
We need to play the next video.
I was going to say something.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing about, when you're born, you're just the self, and then you gradually become aware of well, first of all, your body. So you're starting to control your body, so it's like egocentric. And then you start becoming aware of your family, and you sort of find your place within that frame.
Yeah.
And then you find your society and your country. And I think what we're looking at here is our leap into what we can call world-centric, where we're acknowledging that we're part of this world. And for this world to actually function, we all have to take sort of own that shit. And not just say, well, that's someone else's responsibility. Like you, for instance, was very easy to do when you were just social-centric, or, well, like Trump, for instance, is what he's doing now is just desperately holding back just to protect his worldview of our country. So we can make our country great, which is a good thought, but he's forgetting the fact that that country is a part of a world. And that world, in a sense, is a part of a universe. But that's our next level. Let's take one level at a time, and it's growing. We're growing.
Yeah. I want to say something too before we play the
But
video.
we're running out of time.
I know.
Time.
But it's
Goddamn
like
time.
all of these things we're talking about here today, what you're saying now, and also everything. It's like you have the outer world, where you can be an enemy with someone or be a friend with someone, realize you're one with someone, or pretend you're separate. But that whole mindset and that whole understanding also applies to your inner world. Like you have so many different parts of ourselves that we can be in conflict within ourselves. Like we have segments of our ego, or you can be an enemy with. Like who is the chosen leader in yourself, in your life? who is
Who did you vote for?
Yeah. Like the only example, like Christian is saying, like you started
Blanket?
saying.
He was saying
No,
blanket.
no, before that. Okay, I don't remember what you said actually.
It was very
Anyway,
clever, I think.
But there is one chosen leader in my life. There is a chosen leader that has chosen to make this wake up show. But there also might be an enemy to that could say it's really early in the morning. Maybe we should change the time. But he's not elected right now, so it's okay. It works. But yeah, okay, I'm done.
Oh,
Play the video.
play the video. You know, when you're sort of stuck in a small place, you sort of feel a bit caught, and there seems like there's no way where to go and nowhere to move, and I think it's important to remember to just like relax and breathe and take a step back. When you zoom out and get the bigger picture, you can see that there's a lot of air and just space for you to find that good feeling inside of yourself.
I like that. Zoom out.
Zoom out.
Always works.
Because it's, I guess the one where you're stuck in traffic and everyone seems to just be in your way.
Yeah.
And why is this taking so long? And if you zoom out, first thing you might see the explanation for why the pileup, but also you'll see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And from way up there, it looks really beautiful.
It's true. It's like when you're an editor and you try to find the button to zoom out and see the whole timeline. And when you can't find it, it's really frustrating.
I have a shortcut for that.
Yes, but if you can't find that...
You didn't save your keyboard settings? This is to all you editors out there, gotta have those keyboard settings
yes.
up and handy. Now it feels like we're out of time, but we have lots of time.
We have 5 minutes until there is the next segment.
We have 5 minutes.
Yes.
And I'm counting.
Okay, so
1, 2. Sorry.
Yeah, but I like I think for every situation there is both the when you zoom out to like you're stuck in a way, some kind of frustrating way of looking at things. Like both me and you now, Ulf, for the last couple of weeks has been kind of overwhelmed. It seems like we are on the same thing there.
We're on the same thing, and
it helps to bring in to have the keyboard settings, the zoom out button, and just and it doesn't change the situation in the sense that it disappears necessarily, but it helps you to see everything for what it is and to help you realize that, okay, this is just what it is right now. Maybe I can't change it because all these things are happening, but I'm not overwhelmed anymore if I zoom out and see that it's all all there.
Now I think you've forgotten what it's not a key, it's a word that you need to push.
Fucking word.
the zoom out button. What does the button say?
It says
I know it says "fuck you" if you son of a bastard, but if you peel that sticker off underneath, it'll say in capital letters.
Is that the button when you have to open that little box and you push the button underneath,
like Trump's atomic button?
Yeah.
Do you really want to push this button?
Are you
sure?
Are you absolutely sure? And kind of Windows pops up with the ding. Are you absolutely sure you want to ding? Are you absolutely sure you want to surrender?
Are you ready to surrender now?
But then when you lose your headphones, you kind of pop out.
You lost yourself a bit.
You pop pop out of the universe. You can't hear anything. But yeah, maybe that's a good thing.
That was the zoom out.
That was a zoom out.
That was the zoom out.
Yeah.
I was Christian. Have you been like a bit overwhelmed the last couple of weeks? There's been a lot of stuff going on. Things been chill in on your end of the line.
Not really, no.
There you go. It's like it's happening to everyone. 100% of this room is like stressed the fuck out. I guess we need to push the S button.
The S button. Oh,
I'm
gonna get one of those buttons and have it in my office.
Some have saved it as the fuck off button, but you're just taking it literally.
Yeah,
it's because you're forgetting the bigger picture. You're forgetting you're part of this whole thing. You're in this with us, my friend. This boat has room for all of us. We're all arms.
Yes.
And now here's the boat analogy. I'm going to take this a step forward. You have like 7 billion people sitting in a boat, and everyone wants to be rowing as they're separate. This boat's going nowhere. It's going in circles. It's a mess. People are yelling at each other. Like, I want to go this way. I want to go that way. But if we trust that we're all in this together, we will find a common ground and our path will show up. And now, here's the tricky bit. And I used to hate this because I was a man of science and of facts. I'm spitting now. I'm starting to get intense. That was just to make it for a dramatic effect. Yeah. Oh fuck! I forgot. The boat.
I can say something before you say that.
Okay, a man of science, man of blah 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 blah. Coming to this point where I was spitting, frauding. It's a leap of faith, motherfucker. That's the thing. That's what at the crux of it all is. This is the thing where you just have to trust the fact that there's a boat. We're in the boat. And we're all going in the same direction. And that direction is the smooth place?
The smooth place.
Well,
it's better than the smooth place.
Once everyone rowing in different directions, that's hell. Yeah. Everyone just going, no, this is where we're going. Oh, I see. That's heaven. Yeah. Welcome to heaven.
Okay, so this is the thing.
This is the thing.
This is the thing.
That's the thing. The thing.
The tricky part is that you think when you are so invested in this mindset of, because you have decided about what is right, like when you are invested in a lot of ideas. Okay, I need to make everything work at work. I need to get to the deadlines correctly, otherwise people will hate me. I need to deliver on all these things. I need to be this person for my family, for my girlfriend, for my friends. I need to deliver everything like this. And there's a lot of pressure of any kind of idea.
You need to put the groceries the right way on the conveyor belt that the person beeping them will be happy with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we tend to believe that if you surrender and give up all that you kind of surrender to something that is not you, that is not your will. Like, I remember a huge part of my path, I was so afraid of the surrender concept in itself because I was afraid of losing who I was. If I'm going to surrender, then it means the universe or someone else will take over. And then I won't get what I want. But the realization in that is like the more you surrender, the more you actually get what you truly want. Because there's a higher part of you that have like an agenda, but it's your agenda. Not the little me's agenda, the little afraid Øystein that needs to deliver or be good enough, and all these things.
It's massive, Øystein.
Yeah, so
big old Øystein.
You have found a quote, or?
Oh, nice segue!
Yeah.
Wow, now we're starting. Oh yeah, every week, I search the internet far and wide to find a quote that I find will suit the topic of the episode perfectly. Now, obviously, because I didn't understand what the epic mindset was, that was really hard. But I googled epic mindset, and I found the thing that sort of coincided best with that. So I'm gonna. Oh, that's the wrong paper. Sorry, it's embarrassing. So who wants to read the paper?
Christian.
Christian, you're gonna read the paper, man.
Yes.
Okay, cut to Christian. Read the paper. Focus, man.
If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. Michael Jackson.
Words of wisdom there over.
Yes.
Nice.
Do you agree?
I agree that it's a quote, yes.
Yeah, it was on a piece of paper. Did it have like the bunny
No.
ears? Oh, then maybe it's not a quote. Huh? Maybe I failed. Failing miserably.
There's a statement.
Road to success is paved with failure or something like that?
Paid with good intentions.
No, that's the road to hell.
Yeah. Okay. What did you say then?
With failures.
Ah. Yeah, but maybe it's the same thing.
Good intentions and failures?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Do we need to wrap this up? Do we need a conclusion?
Yeah, we need a conclusion.
Letting go, surrendering, and trusting that you are part of this whole thing.
And the more important it is, the more lost you are.
Game of life.
Yes. So whenever I think that's my conclusion. If you think you are doing something really important, you're invested in something else than the truth.
Now, before we run the outro song, I was gonna make a new outro song, but I didn't make it. So I'm just gonna sing a bit of it, and I'll tease it for next time. Cut to Christian. You will look at Christian while I'm singing. Okay, so here goes. Cut to Christian. Unfuckable, that's what you are. Cut to Rabbe. Unfuckable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me, how the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more. Cut to me. Oh, I have me. Unfuckable. Okay, so I just realized that we're unfuckable.
Yeah, and
gullible.
we are over time. So
oh shit! Run
No. Let people know about the Patreon first.
No, wrong. No. So we have a Patreon where you can support this show, make it even a greater show. So we can spend more time making this show the greatest show that has ever been in the history of mankind. Patreon.com/The Wake Up Show. Show your support. And to all you patrons out there, thank you so much for being there for us. We're here for you. You're here for us.
Yeah.
Perfect harmony.
Yeah. And thank you, Christian, for being our amazing...
Cut to the big picture.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Now you can roll the outro thing. So.
And now here's the outro.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white.
endless day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, say, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I think to myself,